an up-and-comer, a rising star on the Jewish folk rock scene. She's often found on Jewish rock radio and has stuff out on iTunes and has music videos of her work. Really, really awesome stuff that is getting a lot of recognition and notoriety. And she happens to be a dear friend of mine. So let's give it up for Rory Michelle.
Yeah! Anima Amin, I believe that you can make a life doing who you are and what you love. You are all at the age where society is starting to tell you who you are. But society doesn't know who you are. Come on. You know who knows who you are? You. Take a moment. Think of 3 adjectives that describe you. The positive ones, the ones that your best self will think of. Or think of 2 or 3 things that you love doing that bring you joy. Go ahead, take a moment. And hold on to those things as we spend the next few minutes together. Now I'm going to tell you a story. When I was in 8th grade, Mrs. Berman, the home and careers teacher, gave us a project. That project was to write a report about a career we thought we might like. We had to look up the salary, the qualifications, what we would do on the day-to-day at this job. Now, I was known in the school for getting good grades, but I knew myself to be creative, spiritual, and somebody who likes people. That's who I knew myself to be on the inside. So thinking of that first one, creative, I thought, wow, it would be really cool to be a commercial photographer and take pictures of cheetahs out in the wild and submit them to National Geographic magazine. It sounded really cool to me. So I wrote my report and I turned it in. And the day comes and we get the report back. Mrs. Berman walks over to my table. She puts the paper on my desk. I've got a good grade. But she says to me, Rory, I'm so surprised. I thought you would have written about being a doctor or a lawyer. Now, the point is not that it's bad to be a doctor or a lawyer or to want those things. The point of the story is that there was a huge disparity, a huge gap between what the outside world saw in me and who I knew myself to be. Now fast forward, high school, college, a couple years out, I land my first full-time job. In an office, desk, computer, sitting in front of it all day. There were some things that I liked about that job. Some of it was okay. But mostly, I was miserable. I hated it. I was not happy. But I was fortunate because I had Kathy. Kathy was my office mate. She could have been my mother. And we would, in our basement office where there was nobody else besides the 2 of us, sing and dance and have a grand old time. And Kathy one day when I was singing said, "What are you doing here? You need to be singing." And I was fortunate that I was at a place where I was so miserable I was willing to do anything. And so I started to engage in this process of self-reflection, to say, well, who am I and what do I want to be doing? And I did a lot of hard work to identify that I was creative, spiritual, and I liked people. And as Rabbi Tillis told you, now I'm fortunate to get to do work as a singer-songwriter, a song leader. I sing in Jewish communities. I get to be creative, spiritual, and work with people. And that's great. And I'm so grateful to be an example to you this morning as somebody who's making a life, doing who she is and what she loves. But I'm not the point of this story. You are. Because there's a follow-up. In the last year, I started going through some old journals. And in those journals, starting in junior high school, continuing into college, continuing beyond, were those ideas, creative, spiritual, and likes people. It had been there all along. I just forgot it every time I closed the journal. And started listening to what other people saw of me, or what I thought society wanted of me. And so I'm hoping that I can save you all a little time, and hopefully some heartache and some misery. Because right now, today, think back to those things that you thought of at the beginning, the 3 adjectives, or the things that you love doing that bring you joy. And I charge you to remember them, and to keep them central, and to, at some point today, write them down on a piece of paper, because that's magical, if you will, but at least on your heart. And your work is to bring what's on the inside to the outside, so that you're telling society who you are, and so that you can make a life doing who you are and what you love. Thank you for having me.